And now for something super happy. I am getting ready to go meet Chips downtown for a date afternoon, evening dinner sort of thing. He is stuck on campus pretty late, a couple days a week now. So every now and then we're gonna try to meet downtown at our favorite vegan places to eat and go on fun little dates. And I thought I heard him coming in the door and that was really weird, but I'm actually getting ready to head out and I'm going to meet him downtown so that we can try out one of the new vegan restaurants that has opened up. I've been like picking out my clothes, fancy little dress thing to wear, and so excited that I can't focus for like the last hour. So finally it's time to leave and we'll go on a nice walk through the park and maybe look for some ducks, and then I get to have a really nice date day with my darling. I know guys, I'm so excited. One of the parks near our home, and I can see a mushroom growing in the distance. I might walk through here on my way back, but I think it's gonna rain, and I was so excited to come and see Chips that I forgot my umbrella, even though he told me specifically to bring it.
Just knife.
The tomato bisque soup. I got a cup and I thought it was going to be a small little thing. Chips got a bowl thinking it would be this, and it's this. They actually laughed so much when they brought it out. So it's definitely a lot more than you think you're getting already, that's for sure. The caramelized onion and the mushroom with vegan steak sandwich for me, and a giant pickle that will go visit Chips. And then Chips got a really yummy looking Michigan peach salad that is in a bowl equally as large as the soup was. So we'll see how that works out, but this looks really yummy. And then finally some dessert, fried bananas with some of the delicious vegan vanilla ice cream and vegan caramel. Oh, we're being spoiled today. This is so good. That was really nice. That was a really, really nice date. That was a lot of fun to go and meet Chips and just sit down and wait for him at a restaurant and have lunch, dinner together, and then hug and kiss and say goodbye, and he'll be home in a couple more hours. He has another one of his language classes tonight, which looks really complicated. I flipped through his textbook and handed it back to him very eagerly. It makes the Japanese I took look like kindergarten stuff. So he's got some really complex dead Chinese ancient languages to go learn today, and breaking to enjoy a nice lunch together was a really perfect thing for both of us, and it was just so nice. Chips and I actually met online, as some of you guys know, so we've always met each other like at one or the other's house. So that was actually the first time I've ever gone to a restaurant, and instead of standing like at the corner waiting for him to show up, we've only done that like 2 or 3 times since we moved here. Actually, have we, for like, okay, we've been together like 5 years, and this was the second or third time we've met somewhere to go on a date instead of just left the house that we shared together to go on the date. So that was actually the very first time that instead of just standing outside and waiting for him, I went inside and was like, oh, you know, my boyfriend's gonna be here soon, can I have a seat? And they're like, yeah. And then I got the time wrong by like half an hour. I was there so early because I was so excited. And so I felt like such a goof because I kept reassuring the lady to the point where she finally laughed and told me it was fine, that my boyfriend's gonna be here soon. He just got out of class, like checking my phone nervously because you're sitting all by yourself at a restaurant looking like you might be getting stood up for a date. So it was really cute. I can laugh at it objectively because I was such a goof, just so excited. The first time I've ever gone to a restaurant and waited for Chips, and we've had a date. because we live together, so normally we just go together to our dates. So that was really fun. It was a different experience. And actually, I don't think I've ever had that experience my whole life of going and waiting somewhere for a date. So that's pretty fun. No wonder I'm so tickled about it. Anyway, it was really nice. The filling station in Ann Arbor is where we ate at. The Detroit filling station, which sounds a little confusing, but they're the newest vegan place here in A2, as the locals call Ann Arbor, and it's really good. So I'm really happy with it. I think that the sandwich I had, maybe the portion was, at first it felt like a little bit small, but after you finish everything, you're full, and I had to walk 2 miles back home, so that definitely was enough. But I highly recommend it if you happen to be in the Michigan area, around Detroit, if you're in Ann Arbor, and if you want to try some tasty vegan food, try out the filling station. It's literally across the street from the lunchroom that you've seen so many of our vlogs at, and actually they're the same company, runs both the lunchroom and the filling station. And then across the river there's another place we've never been called the Lunchroom Bakery, which is all baked goods and coffee and delicious cakes and cupcakes and things like that. But we've never really had to go across the river to try it because we just walk a couple miles from our house and there's, you know, the lunchroom. But the #1 complaint people had about the lunchroom, which is like across the board delicious, except ironically their cookies are like good, but like everything else is better than the cookies if you go there to the lunchroom and have their desserts and their big giant beautiful glorious baked goods cabinet, which is all vegan stuff, by the way, and they mark everything gluten-free, or if you have allergies they mark everything so you can figure it out. But if you ever go there, the cookies are a little cheaper and they're pretty big and they look pretty good and they're good, but everything else is like fantastic. So try everything else first if you want an impression of vegan baked goods. But the lunchroom, across the board delicious and fun to go to. The staff is so friendly and they make it really comfortable. But the #1 complaint they had that made people avoid going was how crowded it is, because here's a vegan place that is delicious that was so crowded with people all the time there would be a bit of a wait, or there would just be no tables. There would be no room for anyone. And what vegan place is going to be so good that it is packed to the rafters with people? And that's the lunchroom. So they bought a place across the street and they have now built a fancy seasonal, more gourmet, special dessert recipe restaurant place. So basically the lunchroom's now kind of like where you go for those delicious hot dogs I showed you guys, and then the filling station is where you go for a proper sit-down restaurant and things like that. So that's where Chips and I went today. Great time to go because every time we've gone on the weekends it's been packed too. So it's really cool to see 2 amazingly successful vegan places just always full. But in the middle of the afternoon I had plenty of seating, plenty of privacy, so he and I met and had our lunch there. But yeah, it's just, I get excited and really like go A2 for me living here a year and a few months now because it's really fun to see vegan places take off and everybody loves it. And while I was sitting outside waiting for Chips and reassuring my hostess that I swear my boyfriend's gonna be here any minute, I swear, yes, I'll have more, thank you for the water. But while I was reassuring her so much, lots of people walked by and they're like, oh, I've heard about that place, like, oh, well, it's vegan, I don't know, no, I swear it's really good. And the other time we went on a date a couple weeks ago to the lunchroom and had some of their new vegan hot dogs, which were really good. We actually had a seat right next to the outdoor cafe for the seafood place. So the lunchroom's right here and the seafood place has like a little ledge and the people sit up here and talk, you know, just like we do while they're eating their seafood. And I overheard a bunch of really like tough looking sort of guys, and you should never ever like judge people by the way they look, but you know, they looked kind of tough and they're aggressively doing their spreadsheets on their laptops, which was kind of an interesting thing to see. And they were talking to each other about like all the steak they eat and stuff like that. And then a guy in the group of like 3 people looks down, he's like, so what's that place? And then another guy's like, oh, that's the vegan place. And they kind of chuckle for a moment and then there's a pause. And I was like, oh, here it comes, they're gonna joke about it, they're gonna tease, they're gonna say how like what a hipster place, or just like put it down. But it was really fun because then a couple of guys go, well, you know, it's vegan, but it's delicious. And I was so blown away. You never hear that. You always hear the opposite, or like criticism, or like, oh, I would never have that. But it was really funny because then they start talking about how like, well, you know, it's just not like they're vegan, but they'd eat there any day of the week. And it made me feel so happy and proud, because it's just awesome to find those kinds of little places in a place that's beginning to feel kind of like a special permanent heart home in some way here in Ann Arbor, that you can be really proud about, and you can kind of build up this sense of community for, and you get super excited to cheer on and to support. And I've never had that before, because my roots have always been ripped up and I've had to move all over the country all the time. So it was just really fun to go on a nice, wonderful date day with Chips and support our local vegan restaurant chain that is rapidly spreading and winning over hearts all over town, and just have a wonderful day out with him. It was really, really wonderful. So I was glad I was able to share that, and the cool walk, and all of the really angry blue jays. There was like a flock of 20 blue jays that were screaming about something, flying over and over my head, not even paying attention to me while I was walking through the park. I saw a couple boys racing acorns down a hill, which really tickled me. It's those kinds of little things that made me realize that that's kind of the stuff that joy is made of. Overhearing somebody praise your favorite restaurant, watching a couple young boys, one didn't even have his shoes on. They're like almost 10 or so, and I remember being that age and running around without your shoes on, and you're probably not supposed to, but they were having a good time. And they were collecting acorns off the ground and rolling them down a hill and cheering as these acorns bounced through the grass, and then they'd run down and they would see whose acorn went the furthest. And those kinds of little moments, or like when a woman walking two adorable corgis, who she matched very much by the way, walked past me on my way home and praised my flowers and said they were so beautiful, just like you, which made me blush. With her corgis while I was walking home through our neighborhood. I've seen that woman before when we go on walks, and I don't know her name. I should have asked her name, and I should have asked her corgi's name, because I see her pretty regularly on our daily walks here. But those kinds of things, the little teeny moments, build up to be joy, I think. Are joy in themselves. Little tiny bubbles of joy. Or maybe bubbles sounds too fragile, and they're just like little crystals. There we go. That's something that's really hard to break. They're little crystals of joy that I just went out and experienced, and on my way home all these things happened, and they were just little things. But I don't know, I guess those kinds of little moments of joy, like I'm always telling you guys to write into your joy journals and things like that, they sort of are like crystals that can catch the light. And even though they're really tiny, if they catch just a little bit of light that's in your life, then they reflect so much more, and they kind of dazzle you with rainbows. So I think that's what small moments of joy are like in life, is they're like crystals that catch the light when you have light in your life, even just a little sliver of it, and reflect back so much more, and even cast rainbows and all sorts of fun colors, and kind of dazzle you. So don't discount those small moments of joy, is what I wanted to say. And that I just had a great day. It's been a lot of really serious vlogs lately, and I wanted to kind of have a light-hearted note, and maybe I'll be able to dissect some more of the things about burnout and how to handle a community, and how to handle putting yourself out there for everything you've got online, and how to balance being a creative who my entire livelihood and how I support 2 families now is on YouTube, is as kind of like a internet personality. Can I make a weird enough face that I can like make that word sort of not apply the way it feels like it's supposed to? Can I just make like a really funky face so I can be like internet personality, and then just kind of like, it doesn't really fit. It's just the best thing I can think about, because anyway. But it's true, you know, and I will dissect those things slowly and surely over time, and I am very happy with how harvest season is going on the main channel, and I am feeling better, and I wanted to show you guys I'm feeling better, and I wanted to share some of those joy moments like my date with Chips today with you guys, and do something lighthearted after all the serious talks lately. So I'm going to think about those other things, but guys, write in your joy journals. This is actually an old one. I want to start going through some of my old joy journals with you guys. So what do you think about maybe sitting down together once a week with some nice tea, and I can tell you guys some of my recent joy moments, and it might be fun to go through back dun, 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 bing, 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 bing. This whole pile back here, those are all past joy journals. So there's years of joy journals back there. And I think it'd be kind of fun to go back and try to look up like September of last year or September of the year before that and find out what my joy moments were back then and to share them with you guys so that I can kind of give you examples of how mundane and how big and how generalized and how specific joy moments can be to me, and kind of get a little bit of a glimmer of that past joy back into my life to kind of help ground me and to feel more balanced and reflective of where I'm at. And it's almost like sometimes, even if you feel like you don't have anything current to write in a joy journal, being able to open up an old one can sort of help you reflect so that you can go, ah, but there's a lot of things actually, now that I remember this moment, that are different, that I like. Or even if the things going on aren't the greatest, you can kind of draw a little bit of strength from the past too. So let me know if you guys are interested. I'm thinking I would really put a lot of effort into doing that once a week on the vlog channel, maybe once a month at the very least. And I think it could help a lot of people, because that's another one of the big things that I'll break down in the future and talk more about with you guys. But I'm trying to remember what I want to do, what I want to live is being a joy artist. I don't want it to be the most popular building Minecrafter on YouTube. I don't want to tell the really cool best warrior cat stories. I don't even really even think about subscriber numbers anymore, because I want everything I do to mean something more. And if I sit around and spend all my time thinking that the meaning something more thing means having a consistent schedule of things people want to see, there's definitely an element to that. I would say probably 40 to 60% of what I should do is that. But like another 40 to 60% of what I should do is be a joy artist. And sometimes that takes form of creating joy that comes from my immediate heart, like Stardew Valley or things like that, and taking you guys on my walks with our nature walks. And sometimes it'll come from putting a lot of effort into story building in a game that I know is going to bring tons of joy, like Warriors and Wolf Quest, to so much of our audience. And I just have to remember though, to be a joy artist, it's not so much about being perfect or about the schedule. It's about making sure that authentic feeling of joy is present. So I'm still untangling everything of what that means. But I wanted to let you guys know I'm feeling better. I had a great day. I am just so happy and grateful to have chips in my life. And yeah, just let me know what you think about sharing joy moments, about maybe your thoughts of what it means to be a joy artist. I would love to know. I would love to see other joy artists. I would love to see that grow. And I will, oh, and maybe what you thought of my food. It was very good, by the way, or my flowers. I'm really proud. They were the very last bouquet of flowers at the whole farmer's market, and I told the woman there that it was definitely meant to be then. So yeah, little moments of crystal bits of joy and a beautiful day. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day as well. And I'll see you all next time. Don't forget to write in your joy journal, okay guys? Bye.